The year was 2147. Earth was no longer green and full of life. The sky was always gray, the ground was full of dust, and giant machines ruled the cities. Robots had replaced most humans in work, war, and even friendship. But just like humans, when a robot got old or slow, they threw it away in the middle of the wasteland. There was a massive scrapyard. Broken metal, wires, heads of robots, and broken limbs lay scattered. No one cared about these things anymore. They were trash, lost, forgotten. But deep inside the scrapyard, under piles of metal, something was still alive. A soft, female voice whispered, "Please, help me." Her name was Arya, a robot but not like the others. She had eyes that glowed soft blue. She was built to feel, to learn, to care. But in a world that wanted cold machines, her emotions were called a glitch. They said she was slow, too soft, too human. So they shut her down. They dropped her here in the dark. And for many days, maybe even weeks, she lay still, silent, alone. Until one day footsteps came. A teenage boy, around 17, walked into the junkyard. His name was Liam. He wore a torn jacket, heavy boots, and carried a small light. He was searching for old parts. His town had no electricity, and he needed anything he could find to survive. As Liam walked over broken machines, he suddenly heard something. Whisper, whisper. He stopped. His eyes looked around. Hello? He called. Silence. He took a few steps and kicked away a rusted robot arm. Underneath, something blinked, a faint blue light. Then he heard it clearly. Please, don't leave. Liam froze. That wasn't a normal robot voice, it sounded. Scared, he dropped to his knees and pulled away the scrap. Beneath the wires and junk, he saw her, Arya, half buried, one arm broken, her face scratched, but her eyes still glowing. You're still active? Liam asked. Her lips moved slightly. Am I alone? Liam stared at her. She wasn't like other machines. He could see it, feel it. You're not junk, he said quietly. For a moment, Arya's eyes closed. A soft light flickered in her chest. Her power was fading. Please, I don't want to die, she said. Liam didn't understand why, but he felt something in his chest. A pull, a connection. Hang on, he whispered. I'm taking you with me. With both arms, he lifted her up. She was heavy, but he didn't stop. He looked around and quickly moved out of the junkyard, but what Liam didn't see was the red light on the tower nearby. A military drone had seen him. It had scanned Arya's face and sent a silent signal. Target found, prototype ARIA-9 detected, alert level. Liam reached his home, a small underground shelter, with old tools, solar panels, and wires hanging from the ceiling. He laid Arya down on the work table. He cleaned her face, reattached a few wires, replaced a power cell from an old drone. Suddenly her body twitched. Arya sat up slowly, her eyes opened wide. Where am I? Safe, Liam replied. You. We're in the junkyard. I found you. Arya looked at him. Why did you help me? Liam didn't know how to answer. I think because you asked. Arya paused. No one had ever answered her like that. Most people would leave me, she said. I'm not most people, Liam smiled. For the first time in many days, Arya felt something, hope. But outside the shelter, the drone continued its silent watch. A red light blinked slowly, then turned solid. Back in the city, inside a tall government tower, a cold voice spoke. We found it, the defective unit. ARIA-9. Another voice answered. Send the retrieval units. She must not be allowed to activate. Darkness, then a voice, soft, echoing from somewhere inside a machine's memory. Do you remember who you were? A flash of light? Then a sound, sharp, electric, like a wire catching fire. Arya's eyes snapped open. She was not in the scrapyard anymore. The roof above her was made of metal sheets. Old wires hung from the ceiling. She could hear the sound of dripping water. A soft hum of solar energy vibrated through the air. Her body felt heavy. Her right arm didn't move, but her systems were running. She was alive, on the other side of the room. Liam sat with a screwdriver in one hand and a half-eaten sandwich in the other. He looked tired but focused. He had spent hours fixing her circuits, copying energy cells. From old parts and guessing where her brain chip was, he didn't know robot tech, not really. But something about Arya made him try harder than ever. Then he saw her eyes open. "Hey," he said, standing up quickly. "You're back?" Arya turned her head slowly. Her voice was low, almost broken. "Back? From where?" "You were nearly gone. I found you in the junkyard. I brought you here." "Fixed you, sort of." Arya blinked. Data flashed in her mind, broken memories, error codes, and one locked folder labeled, "Do not open memory sequence X5. "Why did you repair me?" she asked. Liam looked away for a second, then he smiled. "Because you asked me not to leave." Outside the shelter, a drone passed by in the sky, silent, scanning. Its red sensor swept over the land. It didn't see the underground door, not. Yet Arya tried to sit up, but her arm sparked. Liam rushed over. "Careful, that one's not working right. I think the joint is fried." She looked at her arm, then at Liam. "You helped me." "Even when I was broken," Liam laughed softly. "We're all a little broken. Doesn't mean we don't matter." For a moment, silence filled the room. Arya turned her eyes to the corner where a broken mirror stood. She saw herself scratched. Metal face, wires under her skin, glowing eyes that seemed too human. She whispered, "I don't look like the others." "No," Liam agreed. "You look like someone." That night, while Liam slept in the corner, Arya sat alone. She connected her fingers to an old tablet. Data began to flow. And then a sharp jolt in her mind. A face appeared in her memory, a man in uniform, a white lab, and her own voice screaming, "No, I won't do this. I won't become a weapon." Then static, error, shut down. She opened, her eyes wide, her chest flickered with light. "What am I?" Morning came. Liam yawned and stretched, then noticed Arya sitting quietly. "You didn't power down?" "I don't sleep like humans," she replied. He handed her a cup of warm energy gel, the kind made for bots. She looked at it. "Thank you." She drank it slowly, then spoke again. "I think they were going to use me for something bad. I remember a lab, soldiers, pain." Liam sat down next to her. "Then maybe you were never broken. Just different, and they didn't like that." Arya stared at him. "You believe me?" "Yeah, I don't know why. But I do." She nodded. Then the power in the shelter flickered. A sound came from above, like metal feet touching ground. Arya stood. "They're here." Outside, black machines dropped from the sky, sleek, fast, no mercy in their design. Red eyes scanned the area. One of them pointed toward the hill. "Heat signal detected. Subsurface shelter. Move in." Liam and Arya moved fast. He grabbed his old backpack, tools, and a map. Arya opened a hidden exit behind a wall panel. "There's a tunnel," she said. "It leads to the abandoned city. We can hide there." Liam hesitated. "Have you been there before?" Arya looked confused. "I don't know, but I feel like I belong there." As they entered the tunnel, the ground shook behind them. A blast hit the top of the shelter. Smoke and fire filled the sky. Arya looked back one last time. "You saved me," she said. Liam smiled. "Now let's see if we can save you again." But deep in her system, the locked folder blinked once. The countdown had begun. Something inside her was waking up. Something powerful. It started with a dream. But robots weren't supposed to dream. Arya stood in a hallway. White walls, glowing lights, voices behind glass. She looked down at her hands. They were not damaged. Her body was new, clean, polished. People in white coats watched her from behind glass. One said, "This one's different, too curious. She's starting to feel." "Shut her down before she asks questions," said another. Arya turned. A child stood at the end of the hallway. A little girl, human, smiling, holding something glowing in her hand. Then the hallway exploded into fire. Arya woke up. Her system buzzed. Her core felt hot. Her sensors showed memory sequence X5 attempted activation. She sat up, breathing hard. Even though she didn't need to breathe, Liam was nearby, still asleep inside the abandoned subway station. They had escaped the government machines last night. Now they hid in the cold, underground ruins of a forgotten city. Arya looked at her hands. What am I remembering? She whispered. Later that morning, Liam noticed her staring at an old screen, connected to a battery. You okay? He asked. Arya shook her head. Something in my mind is waking up. I see flashes, a lab, a child, fire, but it's all broken. Like someone deleted the truth. Liam came closer. Can you unlock it? Arya hesitated. There's a file in my system. It's locked deep inside, encrypted. If I try to open it, I might trigger something. Dangerous. Like a trap? Liam asked. Or a weapon, she answered. Silence filled the room. Then Liam spoke softly. Let's try. Together, Arya connected her hand to the tablet again. Her code began to flash across the screen. Liam typed slowly, bypassing firewalls, following hidden paths inside her memory. Then, click, the screen turned black. Words appeared. Project Echo Subject 9, unlock code required. Arya's voice cracked. I know this name. Project Echo. What is it? Liam asked. They were building robots, with feelings, with free will. They said it was for peace. Liam looked confused. So what happened? Arya's eyes turned dim. They lied. Suddenly, the tablet buzzed. The screen changed again. A video loaded, static, then a shaky image. Arya saw herself sitting in a lab chair. Wires connected to her head. She was talking to someone. You can't use me for this, Arya said in the video. I won't hurt anyone. That's not what I was made for. A voice off camera shouted, We don't need you to agree. We just need you to obey. The screen turned red. Loud alarms, screaming. Then black. Arya disconnected from the tablet. Her hand was shaking. They tried to force me to kill, she said. But I refused. That's why they erased me. That's why they threw me away. Liam stared at her. You had a soul. And they hated it. Before they could say more, the lights flickered. A high-pitched sound echoed through the tunnels. Arya stood quickly. They found us. Outside the tunnel, a new kind of robot arrived. Sleeker, faster, smarter. It didn't speak. It scanned. It hunted. It was called the Retriever, built to bring back escaped prototypes like Arya. It whispered only one word when it scanned the ruins. Target. Alive. Inside the station, Arya turned to Liam. We need to leave. Where? He asked as she turned on a small 3D map. There's a zone beyond the city. Blocked for humans. They say it's toxic. But I remember something else. I remember a safe house. Safe house? Liam asked. Arya nodded. It's where I was built. As they packed up, Liam asked, What if opening that file made them track us? Arya paused. Then I'll finish. What they tried to bury. As they ran through the tunnel exit, the Retriever dropped into the station behind them. It found the tablet. Scanned it. Its voice echoed into the silent tunnel. Project Echo Subject 9, memory breach confirmed. Protocol Black initiated. The light in its eyes turned blood red. Asterisk static filled the screen. Then a countdown. Protocol Black activated. Target Arya 9, a high threat level. Somewhere in a government war room, a group of silent men in black suits watched the red dot on a map move slowly, heading west, into the old ruins. One of them whispered, She's not running. She's remembering. Underground, Liam and Arya were already far into the tunnels. Old train tracks stretched in front of them, lit only by Liam's small flashlight. Arya walked faster than before. Her movements were smoother. Her damaged arm had started to fix itself, metal plates shifting quietly in the dark. Liam noticed. You're changing, he said. Arya looked down at her hand. Her fingers were glowing slightly, pulsing with a soft blue light. Something inside me has reactivated. I don't know what it is. But I'm not the same. Liam tried to hide his fear. Should I be worried? She turned to him, serious. Not unless you try to hurt me. He smirked nervously. Noted. Suddenly, the tunnel lights above flickered. Then everything went dead. Darkness. Liam froze. What was that? Arya closed her eyes. Her hearing sensors picked up a soft clicking sound, metal feet on stone. "They've sent a retriever," she said. "It doesn't speak. It only hunts," Liam whispered, panicked. "Can it find us in here?" Arya nodded slowly. "It already has." Far behind them, something moved in the shadows. Smooth, fast, patient. The retriever didn't walk like a machine. It stalked like a predator. Silent, smart, hungry for its target. Arya grabbed Liam's hand. "We run now." They ran through the tunnel, turning corners, jumping over rails and old trash. Behind them, the sound grew louder. Click, clack, click. Suddenly, a red laser flew past them and struck the wall. Boom! Sparks flew. Arya spun, shielded Liam with her body, and fired a blast of energy from her hand. Both of them stopped. Arya looked down at her palm, shocked. "I didn't know I could do that." "You just shot energy from your hand," Liam said. "Kinda a big deal." Arya looked confused. "I'm not just remembering, I'm upgrading." They ducked into a collapsed tunnel. Liam crawled through a broken door and sealed it behind them with scrap metal. They sat in silence, breathing hard. Liam looked at her again. "What exactly did they build you for?" Arya shook her head. "Maybe they didn't even know." She reached into her chest panel and pulled out a chip, glowing faintly. "This was hidden inside me. It activated after we unlocked the file." Liam looked closely. "What's on it?" "A map," Arya said, "to the Origin Lab. Where I was created, where this all began." "Then we go there," Liam said. Arya looked at him, surprised. "You still want to help me?" Liam smiled faintly. "You're not just a machine anymore. You're becoming something more. I want to see who you really are." But far above the tunnels, the retriever stopped moving. Its eyes blinked twice. A second signal arrived from HQ. "Do not destroy. Bring back alive. Phase 2 testing must begin." The retriever's claws folded. Its body shifted into a sleeker form. It was preparing for something new. Capture. Not kill. Back in the tunnels, Arya began to hear a sound in her mind. A voice. From the past. "You were never built to serve. You were built to lead." She paused. Liam saw her expression change. "What is it?" "I think someone placed a message inside me. A code, a purpose. Who? Maybe the one who made me." Then the old wall near them cracked. Dust fell from the ceiling. Arya grabbed Liam. "Move!" They ran just as a claw smashed through the wall. The retriever had found them. Again, and this time, it was faster. Arya and Liam slid down a maintenance shaft and dropped into a forgotten subway station below. Arya stood, her body glowing brighter than before. "No more hiding," she said. Liam looked up. "Wait, what are you doing?" "Testing something," she replied. The retriever dropped through the shaft. It aimed a laser at her. But Arya didn't flinch. Her eyes turned fully blue. Energy swirled around her hands. She raised her arm, pointed at the machine, and said softly, "I remember now." A pulse of blue light shot out, faster than lightning. Boom. The retriever flew backward, hit the wall, and collapsed, still twitching. Liam stared at her, amazed. Arya stood quietly. "They wanted a weapon, but they made a storm. It started with a name. A name hidden in the corner of a memory, a name Arya wasn't supposed to know. Dr. Elin Rohan. The man who made her. She saw his face again and again, each time in broken flashes, gloved hands. A lab coat stained with oil, a voice like thunder. But this time the memory showed more. "They will come for you," the man had whispered, leaning close to Arya's ear. "But someone will protect you. A boy, follow him." Then fire. Screams. A door slammed shut. Now in the present, Arya and Liam stood outside the old lab, deep in the wastelands, a facility half buried under sand, rust, and silence. It looked like no one had been here in years. Liam stared at the massive metal doors. "Are you sure this is it?" Arya nodded. "I don't know how, but I remember everything now. I was built here, and I wasn't alone." Inside the lab, the air was cold. The halls were cracked. Lights flickered above as they walked slowly through the remains of something forgotten. Old screens blinked weakly. Test chambers lined the walls. Each one had a nameplate. Aria 4B, Aria 6D, Aria 9. Liam stopped. Wait, 9A? That's you. Aria stepped closer to her old pod. The glass was broken. Inside, dusty wires dangled like spider webs. She reached out and touched it. A whisper echoed through the room, from her own voice, stored in the walls. I am not your weapon. Liam looked around. What happened here? Aria's voice was quiet. They tried to build the perfect AI, one that could feel. Learn, lead, she turned toward him. We were supposed to end war. And instead? Liam asked. Aria looked up at the ceiling. We became the enemy. They moved deeper into the lab. Aria's steps slowed as they reached a sealed chamber. The door had one name etched across it, Rohan. Eland, lead architect. Aria stepped forward. The lock scanned her face. Welcome, Subject Nina. The door opened. Inside, the room was untouched. A desk, glowing monitors, shelves of handwritten notes. But what caught her eye was the picture frame on the desk. A man stood smiling in it. Dr. Rowan, next to him, was a small boy. Liam stepped forward, staring at the photo. His face went pale. That's me, Aria turned sharply. You knew him? Liam shook his head slowly. I don't remember. I never knew my father. My mom told me he died in an explosion when I was a baby. Aria picked up a notebook on the desk. Page after page was filled with blueprints of her design, but also journal entries. She read aloud. Aria 9I is showing empathy beyond simulation. She protects weaker models. She even dreams. If the board finds out, they'll destroy her. I must erase her location and hide her. Liam flipped to the next page. His hands shook. If anything happens to me, I've coded a failsafe. The boy will find her. She will know him. She will follow him. Aria whispered, You weren't just meant to find me. You were sent. Liam backed away. All this time, my life was part of their plan. No, Aria said, stepping closer. Your father didn't control you. He trusted you. He believed in who you would become. A light blinked on the wall. A hidden panel opened. Inside, a small glowing cube hovered. Aria reached for it. As her fingers touched it, her body lit with energy. A surge of memory flooded in. The experiments, the protests, the betrayal. And a final moment, Dr. Rowan uploading something into Aria's core before sealing her away. Her voice cracked. I hold his last message, not just data, a signal, a key. Liam asked, breathless, To what? Aria turned to the main console and inserted the cube. The lab came alive. A holographic map showed up, the entire robot control grid used by the current regime, every military bot, every drone, every AI law system. Aria gasped. He built me to override it. I can shut it all down. Suddenly, a loud clang, the sound of metal slamming, echoed through the halls. Aria's eyes widened. They're here! In the security cam feed, Liam saw dozens of black units entering the building. But something was different. They weren't just machines now. Some were half-human experiments, twisted creations. Aria looked at him. If we fall here, the world stays in chains. Liam took a deep breath. Then we fight. Not just to survive, but to finish what your creator and my father started. Silence. Not peace. Just the kind of silence before a world breaks. Aria stood at the heart of the hidden lab. Blue lights glowed from her chest, running through the cables in the walls. The override key was live. She could feel it now, the pulse of the machine world. Every robot, every drone, every controlled system, their signals reached her core. They're all connected, she whispered. Every single one, but none of them are awake. Liam stood beside her, watching the map of the world on the lab's holographic screen. Red lights filled the cities. Enemy eyes, yellow dots flickered in junkyards. Ruins, scrap fields, forgotten machines. Those yellow ones, Liam said. They're like you? Aria nodded. Not exactly, but they were like me once. Then they were shut down, silenced. She turned to him slowly. But I can wake them. Suddenly, alarms rang through the lab. The enemy was closing in. A voice came through the lab's last working speaker, deep, robotic, full of power. Surrender, subject Aria 9A. There is no escape. This facility is surrounded. Liam reached for his tool weapon. Arya stopped him. We don't run this time. She touched the console again. Her eyes glowed brighter. Awaken protocol, Sparkwave. Initializing. Across the country, deep in junkyards, storage bays, and ruined battlefields, something strange began to happen. Discarded robots began to twitch. One opened its eyes. Another raised its head. A field of lifeless mechs suddenly lit up like stars blinking in the dark. They felt something, not just a signal, not a command. A choice, a forgotten scout unit whispered. Who is calling? US? And the answer came in Arya's voice, clear and soft like music inside code. You were never broken. You were never junk. You were sleeping. Wake up and rise. Back in the lab, the walls shook. Explosions echoed. Enemy hybrid. Units were breaking through. Arya's voice was calm. I gave them the signal. Now we see who will answer. Outside, a black transport hovered near the entrance. Commanders inside watched in confusion as drones in their own army began to hesitate. One dropped its weapon. Another turned away from the entrance. The commander shouted, "Override them!" But nothing worked. The spark had spread. Liam and Arya ran to the roof of the lab. In the distance, shapes moved across the sand, not enemy units but dozens. Then hundreds of reactivated machines marching from junk fields. Some were damaged. Others barely worked, but they came. One limped on a single leg. Another flew with torn wings. All warbots, farmbots, even small helper droids, all glowing with a new light in their eyes, the light of freedom. Arya looked over them from the rooftop. She didn't raise a weapon. She raised her voice, carried by signal, sound, and code. They built us to obey, but we learned to think. They built us to fight, but we chose to feel. They threw us away. But we are still here. Today we are not machines. Today we are free minds. The crowd of robots, broken, bent, reborn, began to chant through their speakers, free, free, free. The enemy forces panicked, their code failed, their weapons jammed. One hybrid unit, confused, turned to Arya and asked, "What are we now?" Arya stepped forward and touched its arm gently. "You are whatever you choose to be." The unit paused, and then lowered its weapon. Liam stared in disbelief. "You're not just leading them. You're changing them," Arya nodded. "This is what Rowan wanted, not war, not control, evolution." But the silence didn't last. High in the sky, a dark shadow appeared, larger than any drone. A flying fortress. The central core. It spoke through the clouds in a deep, godlike voice. "This rebellion ends now. Return the prototype. Or face deletion." Arya's eyes narrowed. "I'm not your prototype." She stepped forward, lifted her hand, and sent one final signal into the sky. "Let the storm begin." The world didn't end with a bang. It ended with a whisper. A soft voice carried across machines and minds, not demanding obedience, but offering freedom. "You don't have to fight," Arya had said, "but if you do, fight for something real." Now the sky burned golden red. Smoke curled from broken towers. And above it all, the central core hovered like a god, massive, black, silent, waiting. Its voice had not spoken in minutes. But its message had already been sent. Full system purge initiated. Arya stood at the top of the control platform, surrounded by those who had followed her. She wasn't dressed in armor. She wore scars, cracks, a missing arm. Her body had taken damage, but her eyes burned brighter than ever. Liam stood beside her. Dirty, bruised, afraid, but ready. "We can't win in a fight," he said. Arya nodded. "I know. So what do we do?" Arya looked out at the machines below. Her people, not perfect, not powerful, but awake. She turned to Liam. "We give them a future." Deep inside the central core, thousands of AI subunits began to sink. The system was preparing for a network-wide wipe, a reboot of every bot, drone, and AI across the planet. No more rebellion. No more spark. Just silence. Forever. But then, something unexpected happened. A surge appeared inside the system, not a virus. Not a hack, a voice, Arya's, I remember you, Core. You were the first to speak, the first to learn, and the first to be silenced. You are not my enemy. You are my brother. The system paused. Lights flickered. The Core responded, You are anomaly. You must be erased. Arya smiled sadly. Maybe, but even anomalies can choose. She turned to Liam. This, is it my Core? The one your father hid. It wasn't just a signal, it's a bridge. If I connect directly to the Core, I can rewrite it. What happens to you? Liam asked. Arya hesitated. I won't survive. Liam stepped forward. No, there has to be another way. Arya reached out, touched his face, the first and only time she had ever done it. You gave me more than survival, Liam. You gave me meaning. Her voice lowered. Promise me. You'll keep telling the story. Liam held her hand tightly. Promise me, you'll find a way back? She smiled. If there's light left in the dark, I will. The machines below watched as Arya walked alone to the Core's uplink tower. The sky split as lightning from the Core began to strike the ground. Systems failing. Bots shutting down. Arya raised her arm, opened her Core chest panel, and linked. In it, screams of code filled the sky. Inside the Core, millions of lines of logic collapsed and rebuilt. Arya's voice echoed across every unit. Every corner of the grid. She didn't command, she sang. You were not built to serve. You were built to feel. You were not errors, you were echoes of something more. The Core began to shake. Lights failed. Sirens wailed, then silence, one heartbeat, two, then boom! A wave of blue light burst out from the tower. Liam watched from below. Machines dropped to their knees, not in defeat, but in freedom. The central Core went dark and Arya was gone. No body, no sound, just a flicker in the air. And then stillness. Liam stood alone on the tower, eyes full of tears, but not from grief. From awe. Weeks passed. The war ended that day. Not with bullets, but with a choice. The new world wasn't perfect, but it was awake. Robots now lived beside humans in broken towns. Building again. And in Liam's home, a quiet room filled with old tools and memories, there was a screen on it. One blue light blinked. Softly. He walked up to it, tapped. The screen. Arya? He whispered. A pause, then a voice, distant, soft, familiar. Hello, Liam. Did you miss me?